Hey everybody, my name's Mike Tomorrow and I want to welcome you to the latest episode of My Life with Asperger's. Today's topic I'm going to talk about is being overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed means being stressed out, means having lots of things going on in your life and you're worried about. Overwhelmed is not a good term, but I'm here to discuss it because I know that there's a lot of people with Asperger's that do are overwhelmed with daily life. I can understand that because I have Asperger's and I deal with the daily life and it can be overwhelming. Now, I know that there's a lot of things that can overwhelm me. Work can be one of them. My life with my parents can be another thing. Even though I don't live with them anymore, I still have to deal with them, whether it's on the telephone or in person or whatever. Things that happen here at the campground, friends, pretty much anything that can be considered your daily life can actually have an influence whether you get overwhelmed or not. It depends on how you handle it. If you don't handle it very well, you might as well be overwhelmed. So, there's a lot of things that overwhelm me in my life. The possible move, trying to get another job, it overwhelms me. Now, another example of being overwhelmed is when someone dies that's real close to you, like a friend or a family member, when they die. And then the stress and burden on them can overwhelm you. And that's just real hard. If you care about somebody that's having problems with their lives, that is dealing with a lot of things that go on in their lives, chances are they're probably overwhelmed too. So basically, overwhelmed is something that us Aspies live with. It's what everybody else lives with too. Now, here's an example of me being overwhelmed. I went for job training at Universal, and the first night that I was there, half of the day I was there without a trainer. Yeah, I knew how to do some of the things because I had previous work experience, but I felt overwhelmed because I had to close everything by myself. Nobody told me what to do, and I had to ask for a lot of questions, to ask a lot of people, am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? What am I supposed to do? And that's just real hard. Now, on the second day of training, when I went, they were going to show me around the other restaurant that is connected with the building. And I told the trainer or the person who was showing me the restaurant that I felt overwhelmed about working there. And oddly enough, when I came back to work there a couple of weeks later, they put me at that restaurant, and I still felt overwhelmed. Because you have a lot of music, you have the crowds, you have a train that goes above the building, it goes around, and it's like, I'm going to feel overwhelmed by working here. There's not a system in place, so, I just felt overwhelmed. Now, you cannot let it eat up your mind here, all the time. I know people do get overwhelmed, and it's just real hard, Like if there's changes, and they happen suddenly, that's another example of being overwhelmed, You can get overwhelmed because of that. And I know how hard it can be. Trust me. Being overwhelmed is something I do not like to be. But it happens in my life, and it happens in your lives too. If things go, if things change, and you have to deal with them, you know. And I'm going to be talking about changes in one of my next videos. Most likely sudden changes. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Anyways, back to being overwhelmed. You know, it takes a lot to be overwhelmed sometimes. And if you have a bad day, you're going to be stressed out. You're going to feel overwhelmed. If there's too much on your plate, you're going to be overwhelmed because there's a lot of things that are going on at once and you can't handle it. You're going to be overwhelmed. Let's say that you're going to school and taking classes and you're working a part-time job while you're going to school. You're going to have to do homework. You're going to have to do classwork. You're going to have to go to school. You're going to have to go to work. And it's like you're overwhelmed already because you have to deal with school. You have to deal with life. You have to deal with work. You have to deal with doing homework too. And you want to try to please everybody and get passing grades. But you cannot do that. You can't pass and fail all the time. Well, you can pass and fail all the time, but you can't set your high expectations if you're going to feel overwhelmed, Like, if you go to college and you have a job, then it's going to be a little bit hard. It's overwhelming, yeah. I have done it before. I went to college and I had a job. And things sometimes didn't work out for me because I didn't do well in some of the assignments, And I might have not done well at work too. But yet you have to stay focused. Don't let any other pressures overwhelm you, You cannot do that. So, I just wanted to say this. I talked about how being overwhelmed can be a hard thing. But it can be easy also. It depends on how you handle it. I was overwhelmed the past few days and past few weeks, and it's been real hard on me, So, my advice is take it one day at a time, take a deep breath, you'll make it. Don't feel overwhelmed, and if you do, don't be afraid to speak up, because that's what people are there for. They'll listen to you. Whether they listen to you for real or not, they have 2 ears, they'll listen to you. So. Alright, folks, I'll talk to you guys all later.